Ok. Bueno, pues voy a empezar en español. I start in Spanish.
Os dejo...
Te puedes quedar si quieres, ¿eh?
¿Sí?
Sí. Tú,
Encantado,
porque ¿qué cosas hay que hacer?
Seguir con regar el huerto, esas cosas.
Ah, bueno, regar el huerto y tal. Sí, antes de que se haga de noche.
Por eso,
Sí.
aprovecho y... Gracias.
Ok, so, empezamos en español. El programa oficial de formación en la IFSU se compone de 4 módulos. El POU 1, el POU 2, el POU 3 y el POU 4. Y este es el que hacemos, digamos, formalmente a la gente que dice, me apunto porque me quiero hacer profesor. Y entonces hace el POU 1, el POU 2, el POU 3 y el POU 4. Y luego tienen que hacer un retiro y cada uno de estos POUs, POU es Path of Unfoldment, camino del desplegar, y el 1 es las técnicas, los 4 yogas, tal. El 2 es lo mismo en más profundidad. El 3 es que se preparen un POU 1 ellos, y el 4 es que den un POU 1. So the official training program for teachers in Spain, in fact in IFSU, although, because it doesn't apply to the Rajesh originated, because he follows a different plan, but it's composed of 4 modules. POU 1, POU 2, POU 3, POU 4. POU stands for Path of Unfoldment. So POU 1 is the main preparatory course where you learn Tratak, mantra, chant, and the basic ideas of the philosophy. POU 2 is the same but in more depth. POU 3 is the trainees, the teacher trainees prepare a document to give a POU 1. So they say, okay, I'm going to do a Path of Unfoldment 1, and this is how I'm going to teach it, how I'm going to do it. And then POU 4 is actually do it, monitored by the senior teacher that is training the student. Dicho esto, como tenéis circunstancias particulares, pues esto va a ser una formación ad hoc. Having said this, as you come from particular situations, Emilio has been meditating already for a long, he has been coming to courses, so he's integrated in this. Sure. This is thinking about someone that comes from scratch, and that wants to become a meditation teacher. You the same, you've been with Rajesh, you went to several retreats, you told me, at least one.
One satsang.
One satsang only, not a retreat, just one satsang. Yeah. So you were taught the prep techniques,
yes.
Your mantra,
yes.
You have mandala, the mandala technique, the preparatory mandala technique, do you have
breathing?
No, pranayamas, no. Mandala, you don't have
No, don't have mandala.
A technique that is done with this.
No.
No. Okay. Well, this will be a training ad hoc.
Okay.
In your case, you may need more training than Emilio, porque tú, Emilio, tienes mandala y todo.
El mandala no.
Ah, no lo tienes tampoco. Okay, so I will give you the mandala technique during this stay here. But, I'm not going to put you through the whole system because it will be a little bit inconvenient. So, what we are going to do is that I'm going to give you the basics here, all the basics of how you teach meditation. I'm going to give you access to all the documentation that is relevant to that. You are going to learn the mandala practice, and probably you need to come another weekend.
Okay.
Doesn't need to be at the same time. In fact, it's better that it's a different weekend because it's different how I will complete one or the other. So, having said this, we start with this ad hoc. How do you say when it is improvised? Like
Improvised ad hoc.
ad hoc, yeah, ad hoc improvised. But I know my lesson, so I can improvise like a jazz player. The main activity of a teacher, because think about this, a teacher, I'm going to put myself here so that I don't need to change the camera of place, and I am nearer also. ¿Has seguido lo que he dicho? O lo digo
Sí,
en
bueno,
español?
de momento sí. Ya cuando profundices a lo mejor en algún tema más...
Un profesor, al final, ¿qué es lo que hace? Pues va a poder transmitir su experiencia. A teacher, at the end of the day, he's going to be able to share his experience. So the first thing a teacher must have is be a regular meditator and do all the practices, because that is the most effective part of the teacher. Second, a teacher is going to teach the techniques, the meditation techniques, and the important thing is to teach them properly. Lo segundo que hace un profesor es enseñar las técnicas, trata, mantra, las distintas técnicas, y lo importante es enseñarlas bien, con lo cual en estos días voy a ir técnica a técnica para asegurarme de que las podéis enseñar bien. I will go technique through technique, making sure that you teach them well. Pero en última instancia un profesor lo que hace es acompañar al alumno en un desplegar espiritual. In the last, finally the teacher is a companion of the student in his own spiritual unfoldment. Y este desplegar espiritual está basado en los siguientes pasos, que son 4 pasos esenciales. Responsabilidad. Responsibility.
Sí.
Same thing. Responsabilidad. Aceptación. Acceptance. Devoción. Y entrega. La persona que entra en el camino espiritual pasa por esa fase, digamos. Los pasos son, primero tienes que asumir tu responsabilidad. Después tienes que aceptar el reto que te plantean las circunstancias. Por último, te tienes que devocionar día a día a responder a ese reto. Como resultado de todo eso, llega un momento que entregas tu sentido de ser un individuo para simplemente expresar tu individualidad. So, I repeat it in English. The path of unfoldment unfolds. The first step is responsibility. To make yourself responsible of your own life. Second step is acceptance. You accept the challenge that circumstances are putting to you. Third step is you devote yourself in the acceptance of these challenges. You devote yourself in giving yourself completely, day by day, to, answer to the challenges that life is bringing you. And as a result of these three things, what happens is that you surrender the idea of being a separate a separate I. Okay. Y entonces, ¿qué quiere decir responsabilidad? I'm going to put a little bit of more light. ¿Qué quiere decir responsabilidad? What does responsibility means? Well, human beings, all human beings, without even becoming aware that that is happening, think that they are not responsible of what's going on in their lives. Todos los seres humanos tienden a no hacerse responsables de lo que pasa en sus vidas. I can put you the example of here, through this place and throughout my life, thousands of people have come with their problems. And always that someone that you ask, what is your problem? You will listen something like, my boss is so and so, I don't like my job is terrible, I don't have enough money, my wife is so and so, my children are da, or I have this illness. So it's always something that has nothing to do with you. You are not responsible. You are bad because something else of which you are not responsible is going on. So that's the first thing of responsibility. The other characteristic of not wanting responsibility is that people tend to think, when they are in problems, they tend to think that they don't have the ability to respond. Because responsibility means that you are responsible, so you had every thought you need to have and made every action you need to do to be where you are today and in the circumstances you are today, responsible. And two, it's your own creation, you have the ability to respond. La responsabilidad, lo que le pasa a la gente es que le pone, es decir, cuando alguien se siente mal o está mal, cuando nos encontramos mal y nos vivimos mal, sin darnos cuenta, nos decimos, estoy mal porque mi mujer es un coñazo, o estoy mal porque no gano dinero, o estoy mal porque la IFSU, tal. O estoy mal porque se me ha roto la tubería. El caso es que estás mal y te lo justificas a ti mismo por algo externo que ha sucedido que tú asumes que no tiene nada que ver contigo. Y eso es una de las características de la no asunción de la responsabilidad que todos los seres humanos tienen. La otra característica es cuando dices, no puedo con esto. No tengo la habilidad para responder. Esto es demasiado para mí. Señor, aparta de mí este cáliz. No. God, take this cup away from me. No. It's too much for me. No puedo con esto. Y la responsabilidad significa que te des cuenta de que las circunstancias en las que vives son tu propia creación y tienes la habilidad para responder a esas circunstancias. So, responsibility, which is the first step, is that you realize that your circumstances are your fully owned responsibility and you have the ability to respond to those circumstances properly. You have all the abilities required for those circumstances because it couldn't be otherwise. Because it's your own walking, your own creation. So you must have the abilities. You created that to begin with, so you must have the abilities to deal with that. ¿Se entiende lo que
Sí,
digo?
que lo has creado tú, con lo cual tienes
Por lo cual tiene las habilidades para... So, once you assume this responsibility, immediately you start accepting the challenge. Now, it's easy to say, but how do you teach a person to be responsible? Because it's easy to say, and you tell this to your students and they agree. So, how do you make that possible? How do you make that the students accept the responsibility? My experience. You don't always succeed.
Porque no vas a...
You don't always succeed. Mi experiencia, no siempre tienes éxito. A veces sí, no siempre tienes éxito. But, you know, the job of a teacher is at least trying. Obviously, the more responsible that you are with your own life, the more you have assumed your responsibility and thus accepted your circumstances and thus devoted yourself to your circumstances to the point that you forget about your sense of individuality, es decir, hasta el punto en el que el profesor haya asumido su responsabilidad, aceptado el reto que le plantean las circunstancias y se ha devocionado a ese reto hasta el punto de que se ha olvidado del sentido de ser un yo separado y simplemente fluye por la vida, mientras más ahí estés, mejor le va a llegar al estudiante. Por lo tanto, como decía Guru Raj, el agua pasa antes por la manguera que llega a la planta. The water goes through the pipe hose before it reaches to the garden. So what the act of teaching is going to teach you more than what the taught is going to receive. So you learn more by teaching than being a student. So it's part of the process of spiritual unfoldment. Se aprende más, el que enseña aprende más que el enseñado. Y es parte del aprendizaje espiritual enseñar a otros a meditar. Porque además, si eres honesto, te fuerza a asumir y a practicar las cosas que enseñas. Porque si no, te estás metiendo en una contradicción que no tiene sentido. And being honest and sincere, which is a fundamental quality to teach spirituality, you know, if you are going to teach responsibility, you have to become responsible. And if you are going to teach acceptance, you have to become accepting of your circumstances. So it's also a way to kind of your own growth, unfold your own growth. Ahora bien, ¿qué es lo que necesita la gente para asumir la responsabilidad? What do people need to become responsible? Many things. But one of them is the mind needs to cognize. So,
Conciencia.
cognize, conocer. La mente necesita conocer. What this means is the following. You know, you will get people that you are trying to explain them that their circumstances are their own creation, and they will say no, because my boss is an asshole, or this is not my creation, it's something that is happening to me. So how do you make people understand that this is a reality? I mean, that this is how all things work. So the mind, how do you explain another mind that they are fully responsible of their circumstances? And that is the part in which we explain certain teachings of Guru Raj with respect to what is evolution, how does the mind work, what is the little I and the ego, the personal and the impersonal God. How does the mind work, dada, and the concept of the day.
Mind work.
¿Cómo funciona la mente?
Ah, vale.
La evolución, es decir,
Sí.
para que la gente entienda intelectualmente, es decir, que la mente acepte la responsabilidad, porque el primer paso es que la mente del estudiante acepte la responsabilidad que tiene sobre su vida. Si tú te viene alguien a aprender a meditar y lo primero que te dice es que está mal y no se apea del burro porque está mal porque su mujer es una hija puta y le ha puesto los cuernos y el jefe no sé qué y el niño le ha salido drogadicto, ¿no? Y no se apea de ahí, pues le podrás enseñar las técnicas, pero no le va a servir de mucho y de hecho no va a meditar. Entonces, para que una persona así acepte su responsabilidad, tienes que darle una perspectiva, una forma de entender la vida que le haga darse cuenta de que efectivamente es responsable. So, in order to teach a person that comes to learn with you and tells you that they are very bad because the wife is screwing with someone else, the daughter is a drug addict, the boss is terrible, and everything is a problem outside, and he will not accept that has to do with him. If he doesn't accept that, means that probably you can teach him the meditation techniques. And these meditation techniques could act as a pill, like an analgesic. But he will be solving nothing. And he will soon stop meditating. So, you can teach, but it is very important that the person accepts is the first step, responsibility. Now, how do you explain someone in a way that they understand that they are responsible for their lives, that this is a fact, that what they have in front of them each day of their lives is exactly is in perfect harmony with themselves, with their own creation, with their own path, and it's in as much as harmony as the cells are in your body, is everything else around you. It's perfectly harmonious with what you require for your life. Now, to explain this to someone, you have to give him a different perspective about things like evolution, the mind and how does the mind work, what is the little I and what is the ego, what is the personal and impersonal God, and the concept of the day. So part of the teaching is, teaching certain concepts that are there not for them to believe it, but so that their mind is satisfied with the explanation, and that this explanation make them understand that they are responsible for their lives. Que esos conceptos no es como para que crean en ellos o se los crean, es simplemente un mecanismo para que la mente acepte su responsabilidad. Porque, digamos, tú te puedes enfrascar y decir, no, yo no tengo ninguna culpa con esto, esta hija de puta de mi mujer me tiene loco, yo no tengo nada que ver con eso. Entonces, ¿cómo haces a la mente entender que necesariamente tiene que ver contigo? Y entonces para eso explicamos una serie de conceptos que ni siquiera hay que considerarlos verdaderos, porque lo que contamos hoy está de acuerdo al intelecto actual y al estado de conocimiento de las cosas de hoy. Dentro de 1000 años o de 500 se contará de otra manera y de otra forma. Pero para la mente de hoy hay una manera de contar las cosas que permite a la gente entender y aceptar intelectualmente su responsabilidad, que es el primer paso. Porque si no lo aceptas intelectualmente, ya no puedes seguir. The first step of responsibility is that the person accepts intellectually the responsibility, because if you intellectually don't accept it, that's it. You cannot go any further. It is like eating. First you do is you eat. In the case of a teaching, first of all, you listen to it. You are responsible. Second, you digest it. In the case of teachings, you analyze it and intellectualize it. You digest it. Third, it becomes part of your body. You know what you have eaten, it becomes part of your body. Once you have intellectually accepted that thing, it becomes part of your life, part of how you behave. You behave from this responsibility point of view. So the first thing is digesting. If they don't digest, they will never accept the responsibility. O sea, lo primero es que entiendan, y ese es el primer paso. Y para conseguir que la gente cubra ese paso es para lo que contamos. Yo no sé, ¿tú has hecho algún PO1 alguna vez?
No, yo lo he hecho en mí y no lo he llegado a hacer reglado un poco.
Y reglado no lo has hecho nunca. Bien. Bueno, pues para eso contamos todo lo que contamos de la evolución, de cómo funciona la mente, del pequeño yo, simplemente para que la gente entienda esa responsabilidad.
Sí, lo suelto en pequeñas pildoritas, un poco batiburrillo, por eso quiero como aunar esos conceptos de una forma...
So, during tomorrow, I mean, in a weekend we have the time we have, because you are leaving in the afternoon, around 5 o'clock, more or less.
¿Termino de trabajar?
No, que el domingo.
El domingo sí, el domingo me voy a las 5, sí.
A las 5.
5, 6. Yeah.
So we have the rest of today, which is not much, and tomorrow all day.
Okay.
And then all morning, I will have the afternoon with you, because you are leaving on Monday, but I have to leave very early on Monday to Madrid for my cancer treatment. Okay. So I will have a little bit of more time with you, but also he's more acquainted with some of the concepts, so that will be okay.
Okay.
Bien, entonces, responsabilidad, y para que la gente acepte la responsabilidad, los conceptos. The other thing is the techniques. And in the prep course, we are going to teach pranayama, tratak, the prep mantra, the chant, body scan. And mindful movements.
Buenos días, día entraría.
Bueno, sí, and the good morning day, sí. So, the techniques you are going to teach during a course are these techniques. We will go through them. The concepts are these concepts. We will go through them. And the process that you have to do yourself and you have to help a student to do is this process. So, it's 9 o'clock now. I'm going to give you I'm going to start with evolution.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you a bueno, lo anterior lo has entendido.
Sí, sí.
So, let us start by evolution. And I'm going to, although tomorrow we will continue with evolution, I'm just going to make an introduction, which is a mental experiment. A mental experiment that it was something that Einstein used to do a lot, which is imagine that you're in a train that goes the speed of light. Obviously, trains don't go the speed of light, but you imagine that. So a mental experiment is that you imagine something. Now, the mental experiment is this one. Imagine that you have access to everything that has happened in the universe since the universe started. Imagínate que tienes acceso como si en la nube estuviera todo lo que ha pasado en el universo desde que el universo empezó. You have access to what your parents were thinking when they were screwing and you were conceived. You have access to the emotion of your mother when you were born. You have access to all the information, to every thought, every emotion that has ever happened there, or every minuscule movement, you have access. It's in the cloud, and you have a big computer, and you can get the data.
Just for your family or for everybody?
No, you have access to for everything.
For everything.
Everything.
For everything. You have access to the database of the universe. Imagine to the
Creation.
universal mind. You have access, and there you have everything that has happened. So, as you have access, you can just. And then, with that access, so with that knowledge that you have, you pull the string, and you have your parents, the parents of your parents, the parents of the parents of your parents, the parents of the parents of your parents, and so on and so forth. Till you get to the first parents, let's call it that way. You know, all traditions, all spiritual traditions, you know, they go to this question. Todas las tradiciones espirituales hacen esa pregunta, de los primeros padres, ¿no? Las tribus del Amazonas pues tienen unos primeros padres, los judíos tienen a Adán y Eva, entonces siempre hay unos primeros padres. All traditions have the first fathers. Even countries like United States, they have the fathers of the Constitution. But at the end of the day is Adam and Eve, where do we come from? The first fathers, no? So imagine that as you have access to all this information, imagínate como tienes acceso a toda esta información, pues tú tiras del hilito, están tus padres, tiras del hilito, están los padres de tus padres, Pero aquí lo sabes todo, sabes lo que pensaron, lo que tal, dónde se conocieron, todo, aquí está la información de tus abuelos. You pull the string, your parents, pull the string again, the parents of your parents, your grandparents, but you have all the information, what they think, their emotion, how they treated your father, everything. You have everything. So let us analyze the first few steps, no? Say you have your great-grandparents here. Vamos a ir hasta los tatarabuelos. Pues ponte en tus tatarabuelos, ¿no? Por ejemplo, your family in the 1860s, your great-grandparents, en el 1860. Como tienes toda la información, sabes quiénes son, dónde vivían, los hijos que tuvieron, que son tus familiares directos, porque ahí vive tu padre y tal, y entonces tienes toda la información, cómo trataron a tu padre y tal. Tienes toda la información. You have all the information. So imagine that in this position, as you have all the information, you create, by the way, how do you want me to call you?
Rachel.
Rachel? Rachel. Although Rachel is a bad example because, you know, Rachel, Warwick, so we will use Emilio.
Okay.
So Emilio, this is Emilio Supen, no? Emilio Supen is Emilio today. Emilio today has a DNA that defines his body. Emilio hoy tiene un DNA que define tu cuerpo. As you have all the information, you can make an Emilio out of your great-grandparents because all your genes are here. You might have 10% of this, 20% of this. Así que vamos a hacer un Emilio n-1. Hacemos un Emilio n-1. Este Emilio n-1 que hemos hecho tiene tu cuerpo, pero ¿qué sí que tiene? Porque hay dos tipos de información, la genética y la lingüística, que es una manera de transmitir la información. There are two kinds of ways of transmitting information from one generation to another. One is the genetical information, and the other one is the linguistic information. At the end, it's very similar. Linguistic information combines 22 letters. Genetic information combines 20-something amino acids with which proteins are made. O sea, es muy parecido. Los genes codifican 20 y pico aminoácidos, con lo que hace proteínas, y la información lingüística codifica 20 y pico letras con los que pasas información. Las proteínas tienen información, cómo deshacer la glucosa, cómo hacer esto, cómo hacer lo otro. Es decir, que tú tienes un cuerpo con la información de Emilio n-1, pero como tienes todos los datos, por ejemplo, tú, imagínate, tu tatarabuelo era un tacaño. Tacaño.
Si viene de mi padre, seguro.
Y entonces eso a su hijo, que era tu abuelo, tu bisabuelo, se lo transmitió, que a su vez se lo transmitió a tu padre, que a su vez te lo ha transmitido a ti. Entonces, si tú ves que tienes este gen, dices, yo tengo la tacañería de mi tatarabuelo. So, as you have all the information, you also have the information of the psychological, emotional. So, say your great-grandparent was very tight, like Dr. Scrooge, no? Tight. So, he passed this characteristic to your great-grandparent, which passed it to the your grandparent, which passed it to your parent, to your father, that passed it to you. So, as you have this characteristic also, and you have all the information, you can trace the information back and you say, I have this, you know that I am tight, So you put in this body that you have made this characteristic, which is of this great-grandparent of the 16 you have. This one in particular had this characteristic, and you put that characteristic in Emilio. And you do that with all the characteristics that have been inherited through the line. So you have an Emilio n-1 with these characteristics, but as they were expressed then. ¿Me sigues? Es decir, haces un Emilio n-1 es un cuerpo igual que le metes las características que tú has heredado, pero en su versión 1860, estas características a su vez generan unas circunstancias particulares y entonces tú le metes estas características a Emilio n-1, es el mismo cuerpo, y esas circunstancias particulares. Y como tienes toda la información, de aquí te haces un Emilio n-1 con unas características psíquicas que son las que tocan porque tienes todos los datos y las sabes elegir en unas circunstancias medias que, como sabes que la tacañería a este tatarabuelo le generó este problema y este problema, pues le pones ese problema y ese problema, y que en cambio esa característica que tenía de convencer con la palabra pues le generó estas circunstancias, y entonces pones estas circunstancias y estas circunstancias, y esto te viene de otro tatarabuelo, y haces un Emilio medio, un cuerpo igual que Emilio, con la psicología de 1860, pero con las características que tú tienes,
Sí, sí.
de la misma manera que con tus mismos genes, con tus mismas características psíquicas, en unas circunstancias que son las que esas características generan. In English. So, here Emilio has an Emilio n-1 that has the body, because I know all the genes, so I took this quantity of this great-grandparent, this quantity, I have an Emilio, but as I also know all the psychology of the and I know the psychology because I have all the data, everything I have inherited, so I am a tight person and it came from my father and from data, so I put that characteristic that I inherited from this particular grandparent. I have 16, so from this particular grandparent I inherited this characteristic. This characteristic generated circumstances, because if you are tight, that generates circumstances. So you put those circumstances that this characteristic generated in the circumstances that you are going to create for this Emilio n-1. Emilio n-1 has also this characteristic that he is very good convincing people with words. And this comes from this other great-grandparent. Of the 16, this other great-grandparent had this characteristic that brought to him these circumstances. So you put that characteristic here and those circumstances there. So at the end you have like an Emilio with the psychology that was as it was in 1860s, in the 1860s, in an average circumstances which is balanced to those characteristics, because as you have all the data, you know it's exactly that is the way it unfolded. ¿Me sigues?
No, ahí te he perdido. O sea, dime.
Tú al final tienes aquí a un Emilio n-1 que tiene las características psicológicas que tú has heredado, pero tal y como estaban expresadas en el 1860, esas características psicológicas generaron unas circunstancias a cada uno de esos parientes tuyos, y tú creas unas circunstancias medias que representan lo que esas características psicológicas que heredaste de cada uno de esos parientes generaron en las circunstancias, y por lo tanto tienes a un Emilio con una psicología que es la que tenía Emilio en el 1860, en unas circunstancias que son las que tenía Emilio, ese Emilio que nos hemos inventado en el 1860, pero que está bien inventado porque como tenemos todos los datos, pues hemos inventado eso perfectamente. ¿Me sigues?
Sí.
Okay, you have followed that. I just repeated what I told you. So now, imagine that you do the same, but you keep pulling the string. So you get
Sí, sigue estirando.
an Emilio ein minus 2, Emilio ein minus 3, till you go to Emilio sub 1, the first Emilio. Say 250,000 years ago. You know, because there must be a first one. As you have all the data, you know there are always parents. You pull the string, parents. And those have parents, so you keep pulling the string.
So would they not all go back to the same two people?
Well, that is what the Jews said, Adam and Eve, but that's not the case.
Okay.
You know, the situation is that it comes a point where you cannot make another Emilio because you are missing some genes. You know, you will be able to make Emilios while you are in Homo sapiens. But you know, as you keep pulling, when we get to this point that there were many hominid races, Neanderthalis, Homo erectus,
Okay.
and you know, suddenly if you pull, the next time you pull off the string, you know your parent was an Homo erectus that married a Neanderthalis. So now you are missing some of the genes, you cannot make an Emilio. So there is a point where you don't have all the genes of Emilio.
Okay.
So, and that will be Emilio sub 1. And as you have all the data, you create an Emilio sub 1 with the psychological characteristics that are relevant, because as you have all the data, the same thing that you have done here, you can keep doing it each generation back. Which obviously, imagine how it has changed. Because you know, you go, Homo sapiens has been here 400,000 years, more or less. So you have 400,000 years. You know, that Emilio is completely different for that respect. Es decir, tú tiras del hilito, pero hay una lógica en todo eso. Es decir, la misma lógica que se produce aquí.
Sí.
Entonces, como tú tienes todos los datos, tú imagínate, vas haciendo un Emilio en las circunstancias que tocaban en ese Emilio sub 1, que sería la cueva, un lenguaje muy simple, que quiere decir, métete en la cueva que viene el león.
Te voy.
A very simple language that Emilio used, you know, they lived in a cave, he could see the moon as we see the moon, but he didn't know anything about the moon, nobody told him, so he said, God, moon, no, he imagined that you can see the moon, you are born, your parents have told you of the dangers, but never told you about the moon, and you start looking at the moon and you ask yourself, what is that?
Yeah.
Nobody told you, so you don't know. Your parents still didn't tell you that.
Yeah.
You may be scared of it.
You might be scared, exactly. So just imagine this first Emilio. Now, this I leave you as a mental experiment so that you think about how this works. Because this is basically how evolution works. You know, this Emilio was faced with these circumstances, had experiences, learned things, and then became Emilio sub 2. Is a way of explaining reincarnation. Es una manera de explicar la reencarnación o la evolución. Este Emilio se enfrentó a estas circunstancias, las aprendió a resolver y le pasó la información a Emilio sub 2, que se enfrentó a esas circunstancias y tal, y el Emilio por aquí pues pensaba que la Tierra era plana, pero luego eso lo descartó un poquito después porque se dio cuenta que era redonda y digamos, es un proceso de aprendizaje, it's a process of learning. That first Emilio, you know, he would kill anybody that is not of his tribe, for example, or didn't know anything about the moon, but he's been having experiences and learning, and he found out what the moon is, and then what the sun, and and he believed that the Earth was flat on the center of the universe, but that changed, he kept learning. So, you know, Emilio has been going through an evolutionary process in which he has been learning. So I leave you with this so that you think about it.
Que muchos lo compartimos, casi todos.
Bien,
Esa
pero tú,
evolución, ¿no?
exactamente, pero no el Emilio, porque aquí estamos cogiendo, partimos de Emilio, bueno, obviamente, claro, enseguida somos todos el subconsciente colectivo. Pero para hacer el experimento mental, simplemente imagínate a ese Emilio que cómo ha heredado, digamos, unas primeras características que se han expresado en las circunstancias, que le han generado unas experiencias, y entonces la siguiente vida de Emilio sub 2, y mira, imagínate un poco cómo se habría producido ese proceso evolutivo, de ese Emilio sub 1 hasta el Emilio sub n. So this is for an experiment for you to do and think about it, para que hagáis y lo penséis, porque mañana seguimos con esto. But you just imagine this, in your case, Rachel, or Emilio, or whatever, you know, Emilio sub 1, it has these characteristics, psychological characteristics, in their circumstances. He has these experiences, these psychological characteristics create particular circumstances, he has certain experiences, and then the next birth of Emilio sub 2, so it's, you know, it's a mental experiment, but it's a way of explaining reincarnation or evolution. This Emilio sub 2 has learned already things through his previous experiences, but still have things to learn, and, you know, he hasn't learned yet that killing the people of other tribes is not good and he's a killer, you know, for example, but then he had the experience of killing someone that he realized he should not have killed, and then, you know, the next Emilio has that learned, and then he's not going to kill now. Yeah. So imagine how step by step, we reach to Emilio sub n. Because one of the first things that people have to realize is that they are born where they are born due to a process. It's not a diabolic lottery where somebody is born with a silver spoon in their mouth and some are born in Gaza. Y esto es importante para que la gente entienda que tú no naces donde naces por casualidad o por medio de una lotería macabra, que naces donde naces porque naces como consecuencia de un proceso evolutivo. Tus padres se juntaron con quien se juntaron porque nacieron y tenían las características que sus padres les habían dado, que crearon las circunstancias, que a su vez los padres habían dado, que crearon las circunstancias, que a su vez los... Es decir, tú no has nacido donde has nacido, así como una lotería macabra, que unos tienen una cucharita de plata en la boca y otros nacen. No, porque tú tienes un linaje, si quieres, o perteneces a un linaje evolutivo, o perteneces o eres parte de un proceso, o, como lo explican los orientales, eres la reencarnación de, es decir, hay algo que está aprendiendo y se está reencarnando y en cada encarnación va aprendiendo. So I leave it there, we continue tomorrow.
One little question. In the case you've got there, let's supposing that Emilio doesn't have any children.
No, but I'm not speaking about Emilio having children or not having children.
I'm just thinking in my mind is that energy just stops.
No, because in reality, the fact that, evolution in the sense that parents have children, and the evolution of the individual soul, it is a reflection, but not exactly like that.
Right.
So if you don't have children, you are still a form of life in evolution.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So say that you don't have children in your lifetime, that doesn't mean, it means that you are not having children, so your psychic genes, your genes are not going to be transmitted, good or bad, they are not going to be transmitted, and your psyche might be transmitted if you are, a famous writer,
Okay.
or something like that, or might be transmitted because you have interacted with such a lot of people that information, survives in other people,
Like a legacy.
but you still are a form of life and evolution, and you still will become a reincarnation. So this is just a way of understanding reincarnation from the biological evolution point of view,
Right. Okay.
which means understanding that you are a form of life in evolution, because obviously you can pull the string and you can keep pulling the string till you come to the Big Bang. So in reality, who is reincarnating? God is reincarnating. Nobody else is reincarnating but God. The rest is information. But that I leave it for tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Que por terminar esto en castellano, que tú obviamente ese hilito no termina en Emilio n-1, sub 1, sino que puedes seguir tirando hasta el Big Bang. ¿Qué quiere decir eso? ¿Que quién se está reencarnando? Dios, lo que empezó a expresarse en el Big Bang. ¿Y el resto qué es? Información. Información adquirida a través de la experiencia. La experiencia que tuvieron los primeros átomos de hidrógeno al estar presionados unos contra otros y formar átomos de helio, que es lo que se produjo en las estrellas, esa información está grabada en la propia estructura del átomo de helio, que tiene dos protones muy pegados, tan pegados como lo estaban los átomos de hidrógeno, que estaban tan pegados que entonces se juntan los protones liberando un montón de energía. Y luego se juntaron dos átomos de helio y hicieron uno de carbón y luego uno de oxígeno, pero al final todas esas experiencias, ¿qué son? Información. Y esa información genera formas cada vez más complejas. Átomos de hidrógeno, átomos de helio, átomos de oxígeno, de carbono, de silicio, tal, moléculas inorgánicas, moléculas orgánicas, bacterias, tal, es decir, el nivel de complejidad va aumentando porque va aumentando el número de experiencias que tiene esa energía que se está encarnando, que es la conciencia pura, y vida tras vida, hasta que llega hasta ti.
Que soy el culmen de la creación.
Exactamente, eres el resultado final de esos 13.700 millones de años evolucionando. Entonces es parte de lo que enseñas a los estudiantes, también es a empezar a cambiar la perspectiva. En vez de ver las cosas desde un nivel muy bajo, empezar a ver las cosas desde un nivel más amplio. Entenderte como una forma de vida en evolución es lo primero. Los orientales lo arreglaban con lo de la reencarnación. En Occidente antes se enseñaba la reencarnación, pero se dejó de enseñar, no se sabe muy bien por qué. Pero bueno, ahora se habla de la evolución, pero obviamente es muy estresante la idea, solo tengo una vida y esto es lo único que hay, y o voy al cielo o voy al infierno, y esto es una lotería macabra, porque joder, algunos lo tienen más fácil que otros, es una idea realmente estresante, para cualquiera, que a lo mejor es parte del secreto del éxito de Occidente, que están todos estresados y quieren sacar tanto adelante que han conquistado el mundo, ¿no? Pero a base de crear mucho sufrimiento también.
Ya lo veremos, ¿eh?
Bueno, okay, so tomorrow we continue and now we are going to have dinner.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank you very
Ramon.
much.
Bueno. Pues voy a parar esto.